Peace, my sugar lumps. Let's make these cheesy chicken enchiladas. And you know I'm a Kroger girly, so I got all of my ingredients from Kroger, and all of it is Kroger brand. So let's talk about that block of cheese. I shredded it, and my mom found this shredder for me off of Temu. All praises. If I find out the information, I'll be sure to put it in the description. But I love this because I can shred my cheese and it'd be perfect every time. Okay, now we're gonna jump into our flour tortillas. So one thing I love about this recipe is really easy to remember. So really quick, write this down. 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of very hot water. And before you add the very hot water, you want to make sure you put 1/4 or 4 tablespoons of oil in your dough. Mix it up and let it sit for 15 minutes, and boom, you have flour tortilla dough. Now, this flour tortilla dough recipe that I just gave you makes about 10 tortillas, and they're so delicious. If you want more tortillas, you can do them smaller, or you can just double the recipe. It's really easy to double. Now, when you make your flour tortillas, you got to make sure that you roll it out pretty thin to where you can see your surface. So as you can see, I keep going, and you see I'm flipping it, because flipping it helps you to get, in my opinion, a better perspective and a better roll and shape of your dough instead of keeping it in that same spot. So as you can see, it's getting thinner and thinner, and you start to see the my surface. And it's okay if you get a hole in your dough. You just pinch it together and keep rolling it out. And you want to do this for all of your tortillas. And before you roll out your tortillas, make sure that you put some flour on your work surface, or else your tortillas are gonna stick. And another thing that I do, especially while I'm waiting for my comal to heat up, and a comal, if you don't know what it is, it's a flat cast iron skillet type thing that you use to make things like tortillas and flatbreads. And that's the Spanish name for it, comal. So when you make your tortillas, you want to make sure that you sprinkle flour on the tortillas that you already have made, because, like I said, while we're waiting for our comal to heat up, we want to make sure we're productive with our time, which is why we roll it out, and we're going to roll out all of them, and we're going to stack them on top of each other. Now, when you stack your flour tortillas on top of each other, make sure, like I said, you have the flour, and make sure you don't you don't put them on top of each other to where you can't see where the next one begins and where the top one ends. So you'll see that I, catacorner my tortillas, because I want to be able to see where the next one is. And yeah, that's just me. See, I didn't put it all the way on top of it. I put it a little further down, and I'm going to do that for all of these tortillas. And you see, I'm pointing to my comal. It's heating up right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and do as many tortillas as I can while the comal is heating up. And once it's ready and really hot, then that's when I'll start putting the tortillas on. And my baby girl, she showed me she made a croissant out of some dough that I gave her. Listen, my baby girl watches me, and I'm here for it because she is my future. She is the future. And she loves baking bread with me. And when she showed me that she made a croissant shape with her dough, it just warmed my heart. I had to show y'all. But as you can see, I'm still rolling out the tortillas. And you know, the first time I made flour tortillas, actually this whole recipe, it took me about 3 hours because I had to get used to rolling out the dough, and I had to, gain a proficiency in it. And once I gained that proficiency, of course, things started to speed up, and I was able to multitask, and it's just a beautiful thing. That's one thing I love about homemaking, is that the trial and error of it. And so anyways, rambling, But now our comal is heated and we put our flour tortilla dough on it. And as you can see in the back, we got some water boiling. That is my chicken breast. I put 3 chicken breasts in some water in the back eye because I want to make some chicken stock that I'm going to be using for my cheese sauce for the enchiladas. So while this tortilla is cooking, I'm still rolling out some more dough. And later on, I'm going to show you what to look for when you make your tortillas. If your dough is not bubbling up, that means either your leavening agent is bad or your comal or skillet is not hot enough. And I'm going to lean more to saying that your skillet is not hot enough. But if your skillet is hot enough, then you want to look at your leavening agent. And the only leavening agent that we're using is baking powder. So like I said, the chicken is going right into the pot. And now we're flipping the tortilla. But like I said, I'm going to show you what it looks like when it bubbles. But you can see little bubbles. But I'm going to show you like when it gets a little bit hotter. Because it's still hot, but it's not super, super hot to where it's like doing the big bubbles that I love to see. But this is acceptable too because the tortillas, they came out perfect. And one thing I love is the tortillas don't be stiff, child. Stiff where? Nowhere. Exactly. So you see I got the other cast iron skillet seasoned and ready. Like I grease my cast iron skillet every time before I use it. And now I just dropped in some butter because I'm starting to make my bechamel for my enchilada sauce. And one thing I use for my bechamel sauce is butter, flour, and water. And if I don't have any type of broth, like today I have chicken broth, so I'm gonna be using that. But if I don't have any other broth, then I just use water. I do not, I stress this, I do not use milk because my oldest daughter, she has a slight dairy intolerance. So like she could take some cheese. She didn't eat any of these enchiladas last night. And I don't expect her to. But in the future, you know, I'm just looking for ways to make this recipe to where she's not having a whole allergic flare up. Now, look at these bubbles in the tortilla. Look at that. These are the bubbles you want to see. They don't have to be super big, but these are the bubbles you need to see. And once you see these bubbles, you need to flip it. But as you see, I'm cooking, and this is okay because it's still not super, super hot. But I added the cheese to my cheese sauce, and that's the grated cheese that I grated by myself with my little cheese grater that my mom got me. So cute. Now I'm flipping it. And you're going to see how it bubbles up again. But yeah, child. When I make dinner, I don't do just one thing at a time. I'm making multiple things at a time because I have hungry, growing children who are ready to eat. And see, okay, now I'm about to put that chicken broth into my cheese sauce. Very simple. You just use butter, flour, cheese, and water. And if you're not using cheese, you can just use butter and flour. And it could be a plant-based butter too. But yeah, just cleaning up a little bit as I go. But you see the bubbles are still forming on the tortilla. Our cheese sauce is just about done. And we still got our chicken that we're going to shred later on boiling. Okay, we got 3 things going at once because that's what Queen Mother do. Okay, and I didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, I want to multitask with cooking. No, my sugar lumps. This is years and years of practice, okay? Years and years of practice. And sometimes I pretend that I'm on Chopped. That's between me and you, though. I pretend I'm on Chopped and I like race against the clock. And sometimes my husband be like, babe, you made that really fast. And I just look at him and be like, I know. It's because I was pretending I was on Chopped. So yeah, still making the tortillas. And now we're about to add our seasoning to our cheese sauce. And don't forget to have a creamy enchilada cheesy sauce. You got to add the sour cream. And of course, you know the sour cream is from where? Kroger because I'm a Kroger girly. It's what we do. And you see the bubbles? And now the comal is getting much hotter and the bubbles are getting bigger. See that? Beautiful. And this is what you want to see when you're making your tortillas. And you got to make sure when you make your cheese sauce, you got to make sure you whisk it really good. The more you whisk it, the more fluffier and creamier it'll be. And so now, like I said, we're about to start seasoning. I just put a little salt in there. But after I add the salt, I'm going to show you the other seasonings that I'm going to use. And that is, I'm using cumin, sage, chives, and black pepper and garlic. Very simple, very simple. And you're going to see once again when I do the seasoning. So, like I said, cumin. And see the tortillas still cooking. It's gonna still be great. Took it off, boom, okay. And what was that? Oh, I didn't show you. I think, okay, chives. I must have put a lot of cumin in there. It was really good. All right, and sage. I did put a lot of cumin in there. It's delicious. And then the garlic powder. And I don't use any specific measurements. I just put in what I feel needs to be put in. And sometimes I just be going to my heart's content. And that's when my dishes turn out the best. Yeah. See, bring you a little closer, whisking in all the seasonings. Just look at that cheese sauce. It's so good. And you don't even need all those ingredients. Very simple ingredients. All right, and now we're about to shred the chicken. Baby Nunu. I got a baby Moo, baby Nunu, baby Poo Poo, and Grandpa. Those are my 4 children's nicknames. But this is baby Nunu. And she was trying to grab the chicken, child. She's just sticking her little hands up there. I eventually ended up laying her down on my lap while I shredded this chicken. Because you know how the breastfed babies be, child. They don't like to be away from their mama. And so I'm just about done shredding the chicken. And then one thing I do, my sugar lumps, because there's so many different ways you can shred your chicken, but I find this the best way to shred it. You know, some people use the handheld mixer, but I use 2 forks and these here fingers that I was born with, okay? And what I use my hands for is to break up the meat even more. Because sometimes doing the 2 forks, it just don't do it, you know what I'm saying? And you gotta go in and manually do it with your fingers, and that's okay, and that's what I do. And you know, cooking is a labor of love, and I don't mind taking my time to do it because I'm doing it for my family. This is what sustains their bodies. This is what nourishes their bodies. This is what, you know, helps them grow. And I love using my hands to cook for my family. Now, make sure your hands are clean before you start using them to cook for your family. Now, don't be trying to say, well, Queen Mother said use the hands. Use clean hands. Make sure your hands are clean. Wash your hands thoroughly before you get in there and start shredding chicken. And also, when you shred chicken, don't be scratching your underarms and scratching all other places of your body because that's just nasty. If you happen to scratch those parts of your body, make sure you thoroughly wash your hands because I don't want to taste, and I'm sure your family don't want to taste no booty juice or underarm juice or whatever, fupa juice, whatever juice you would scratch. So I added some spinach to the chicken because, like I said, you know, I got to hide the little veggies where I can, child. Couldn't put the veggies in the sauce because that's too blatant. So what do? You put it inside the enchilada. So spinach is great because it's very mild in flavor and it just blends well with cheese and chicken. And there's the cheese that I shredded. So how it goes is you get just a nice little handful of chicken and then you sprinkle some cheese on top of the chicken and then you roll it up. And that's how you prep your enchilada. Very easy. You don't have to do the burrito wrap. You can just do like a regular wrap, just like that. You don't have to tuck the tops and bottoms. Now you will see in the end, I will tuck the tops and bottoms. That's because I want to differentiate between the chicken enchiladas and just the cheese enchiladas. I ended up running out of chicken in this recipe. Usually the 3 chicken breasts, they hold it down for the whole recipe, but not this one. And sometimes, even when I do use it, sometimes I might have like 1 or 2 that don't have it, but this time I have 3 that are just straight cheese, and that's fine because I like cheese and tortillas. That's amazing. But you want to do this for all of your enchiladas. Now, if you're a family that likes to have a lot of meat in your enchiladas, then you want to double up with your chicken breasts. I just use 3 chicken breasts for this recipe. But if you like a lot of chicken, you could do 5 or 6. You feel me? Whatever your family requires. And after you wrap up all of your tortillas, that's when actually your cheese sauce should be turned off by this time. Your cheese sauce should be turned off and cooling down a little bit, because you're gonna have to pour the cheese sauce over all the enchiladas. So you see, I'm out of chicken, but I got 3 tortillas left. So this is when I made my cheese enchiladas, and you will see that I folded the top and the bottom and I rolled. So you see, fold top and bottom and roll. And this is how I will differentiate between the cheese enchiladas and the chicken enchiladas. And I also put them on the baking sheet long ways instead of short ways like the chicken. So that's what I did with that. Also, if you have other veggies you might want to put in there, like some more spinach. I didn't do that. I just wanted straight cheese. Don't judge me. Judge your mama, okay? But you can add whatever you want in your enchiladas. It's your kitchen, your rules, your meal, period. So I'm done wrapping up all the enchiladas. Now it's time to put on our cheese sauce. And child, I don't know why I put on that oven mitt, because the cast iron wasn't even hot like that, but I was just being safe. That's what it was. I was being safe. Queen Mother need to be safe, and Sugar Lumps need to be safe too, okay? And I just make sure I generously spread the cheese sauce over all of the enchiladas. And after I spread the cheese sauce, child, I get my spatula and I make sure I manually, spread it out, because I want to make sure I leave no enchilada untouched. And I like cheese. My family like cheese. We love cheese. So, yeah, we got to make sure everybody get a taste, child. Everybody get a taste. Everybody get a taste. You get a taste. You get a taste. You get a taste. Now, 1 block of cheese is 1 pound of cheese, and I use 1 pound of cheese for this recipe. Now, you might be saying, Queen Mother, I don't have time to be shredding my own cheese. How many packs of cheese I need? Need about 4 packs of cheese. Maybe 3. And during this time, you want to make sure that your oven is preheated, because after you put all the cheese on top of your enchiladas, you're going to bake your enchiladas in a 375-degree oven for 25 minutes. And by the 25 minutes, your enchiladas should be nice and golden brown, and the cheese should be perfectly melted. And you let them sit for like 5 minutes, and then they're ready to serve. I like to top mine with salsa and sour cream. You top yours with whatever you want to top it with, Sugar Lump. I wanted to come back right after they were done, but we was hungry, okay? But you see how it's nice golden brown. Everything is perfectly melted. And I'm gonna cut one open so you can see, how nice it looks on the inside. It's not super cheesy on the inside. It's a perfect balance of cheese and cream and deliciousness. And so you got the spinach in there, chicken and cheese. And here I topped it with some sauce and some sour cream. If you love this content, please subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe.